Hi all, welcome to Island IS Theory of Prelims, Geography Test Discussion 1. So the first question is about the reasons for low productivity of oceans. So we know that the productivity of oceans will depend on three factors. One is the dissolved oxygen. Usually it will be more in the upper layers. Then there is the temperature again, then there is the sunlight. Sunlight is again more in the surface layers. Then there is nutrients. So nutrients are mostly found in the bottom layers near the surface, near the sea bottom. So so wherever all the three are available, there will be high productivity. So let us look at the statements. The statement one says the availability of sunlight is confined to the photic zone. That is correct. So that's the reason why there is low productivity in the other areas. Then second statement, the surface water in oceans are very poor in nutrients. Yes, the nutrients are concentrated in the bottom layers near to the sea bottom. So both the statements are correct. Answer is C. So wherever these three factors are available, there will be high productivity. One such example is the shallow seas. Shallow seas, the bottom or the sea bottom is very close to the surface. So nutrients are very close to the uh, surface layer where there is dissolved oxygen and nitrogen. So there is high productivity. So most of the coral reef regions are associated with shallow sea region. Then there is uh, then there is the upwelling region. In upwelling, the zones of in areas of upwelling, the nutrients are brought from the sea bottom towards the surface. So there will be nutrient availability, thereby increasing the productivity and biodiversity. Another area is the area of mixing of cold current and warm currents. Wherever there is mixing of cold current and warm current, there is a lot of churning of the ocean, and this churning will bring up the nutrients from the bottom layers to the surface. So thereby uh, giving high productivity and biodiversity. So next question is about the geoid shape of Earth. So what among the following is are the consequence of Earth being geoid in shape? So we know that Earth is not perfectly spherical in shape; it is geoid in shape. So we know that the equator is so there is a bulge near the equator. Similarly, the poles are flattened. So because of this reason, there will be certain influence or impact on the surface of Earth. First statement says the variation in length of day and night in a year. So this is associated with the tilted axis and revolution around the sun. So this one is wrong. So you can eliminate statement one. So if you eliminate statement one, you will directly get the answer. So let us look at the other two statements. Statement two says variation in the gravity across the latitudes. So there, the gravity will be high near the equator, and the gravity will be high near the poles in comparison to the equator, because the poles are around 70 kilometers closer to the center of the earth in comparison to equator. So the gravity will be more near the poles. So this one is correct. Second one, variation in thickness of the atmosphere in the poles and equator. So there is a variation in thickness, especially in the troposphere. You can see this. In other layers also, this particular aspect is there. That is the uh, atmosphere is thick near the equator. So it is partly because of the fact that the poles will attract the atmosphere towards it because of the high gravity. On the other hand, for if you take the example of troposphere, in troposphere, the thickness of the troposphere at the equator is around 18 kilometers because of the fact that here there is a lot of solar insulation coming, and this insulation will excite the air here. It will rise to the higher altitudes and create a thicker atmosphere there, and then only it will spread towards the poles. And uh, at the poles you have cold, dense air mass. On the other hand, at the equator, you have slightly low dense as well as high temperature or hot air mass. So here the answer is B. Next question. Next question is about the next question. Okay, next question. Next question is about a climatic region. You have to identify a climatic region which is characterized by shifting of wind belts with alternating offshore and onshore and offshore winds, and rainfall. Maximum rainfall is recorded in the winter season. So we know this is the characteristic feature of the Mediterranean region. So answer is C. Next one. Next, the question number 4. So question number 4, you are supposed to identify a soil forming process. So let us look at the statements. Statement 1 says it predominantly occurs in cool and humid regions, that is the mid-latitude regions. Second one, the region identified with this process is predominated by coniferous vegetation, that is the boreal vegetation. So this is a process associated with the mid-latitude having coniferous forest. Let us look at the third statement. It says the minerals like aluminium and iron are leached away during the process. So the coniferous vegetation provide an agent called cheluviating agent to the soil, and this cheluviating agent will make the process of leaching away of aluminium and iron to the bottom layers easier. And this particular process is called fossilization. So answer is A. So next question, question number 5. Which of the following factors influence type and rate of weathering? Which of the following factors influence the type and rate of weathering? Vegetation cover, obviously, if there is more vegetation, if the roots are deeper, if the roots are stronger, there will be more weathering. Rock structure, if the hard rocks will take more time for weathering compared to the soft sedimentary type of rocks. Topography, so the weathering process will be fast in steeper gradient regions. Moisture will aid in weathering. Then there is pollution. You might get confused where pollution will aid in weathering. So you just think about what are the various forms of pollution and what are the different processes associated with weathering. One such process is the acid rain. The formation of acid rain can, in fact, affect the weathering process. It can dissolve many of the minerals found in the soil, and it can make the soil forming processes much easier. So the answer is D, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So next question is about Hawaiian Islands. So the question is, Hawaiian Islands are known for active volcanoes because, so you have to identify the reason for the presence of volcanoes, active volcanoes in Hawaiian Islands. So this is actually an area where you have to be very much clear, because you might get confused with the fact that Hawaiian Island being located in the Pacific Ocean is associated with Pacific Ring of Fire, which is not true, because Hawaiian Islands are not located along the continental margin, rather it is located within the Pacific plate. So it is intercontinental, not at the margins of continent. And here the process which leads to the formation of volcanoes is the presence of something called mantle plume. Mantle plume is actually hot rising molten rocks rising from the core mantle boundary to the surface. In the surface there will be a bulb-like structure, and then there will be volcanoes. These volcanoes are called hot spots, and this is called mantle plume or hot plume. Okay, so the answer is A. So can you tell me some other important areas which are located above the mantle plume? So one such example is the Galapagos Island. Another is the Reunion Island. So these are all good examples of mantle plume volcanoes or hot plume volcanoes or hot spot volcanoes. Fine. So let us go to the question number 7. Question number 7 is regarding west wind drift. So the statement 1 says it is an ocean current that encircles Antarctica from west to east. So that is true. west wind drift is an ocean current which encircles Antarctica. So statement 2 says it speeds up navigation from South Africa to Australia. So we know that South Africa is located towards the west and Australia towards the east. Because this particular current move from west to east, it aids the navigation between these two countries. Third, it connects the Pacific, Atlantic, and Indian Ocean. So we know that the southern part of all these oceans are connected, and this particular ocean current connects these three large oceans. So all these statements are correct. Answer is C. Now, question number 8. If the Earth's elliptical orbit around the Sun transforms into a circular orbit, which of the following are likely to happen? So we know that the Earth revolves around the Sun in an elliptical orbit. So at one position, the Earth is slightly closer to the Sun, and at one position, Earth is slightly away from the Sun. This is called perihelion position, and this is called aphelion position. So let us look at the option 1. A, annual cycle of season would stop. So what is the factor which is leading to formation of season? It is the revolution around the Sun in a tilted axis. So you know that this is Sun, this is Earth. Earth's tilt is constant with respect to space. So here you can see the south pole is facing Sun. Then this is equinox. Here the north pole is facing Sun, the northern summer. Then again another equinox. Here south pole is facing, that is southern summer. So you can eliminate option A. Option B, uniform distribution of solar radiation on Earth. So the uneven distribution is due to the curvature of Earth. So this the equator, the region near equator receive more sunlight compared to the region near the poles. So you can eliminate this. It has nothing to do with the elliptical orbit. Option C, a change in the magnitude of Coriolis force. Again, Coriolis force is due to the curvature, the spherical shape of Earth, and due to the rotation. So we can eliminate option C also. Answer is option D, none of the above. Look at the question number 9. Question number 9 says, so you have to consider the statements regarding Earth atmosphere. So first statement says, the temperature decreases uniformly as one moves up the layers of atmosphere. So the temperature decreases in the troposphere, temperature increases as we move up in the stratosphere. So we can eliminate this particular statement. Second statement, the height of troposphere is more near poles than at the equator, which is true. Is it true? The height of troposphere is more near poles than at the equator, which is false. Equator, it is near equator. The troposphere is around 18 kilometers in height, and near the poles, the height is around 8 to 10 kilometers. So, and the third statement says disappearance of ozone layer from the atmosphere could collapse the food chain, because if there is no ozone layer, there will be a lot of UV rays coming to the Earth's surface and affecting all organisms. Especially it will affect the primary producers. So the primary producers in the ocean, the microscopic organisms, the algae, all the primary producers, and also the primary producers in the land, the plants. Okay, so it can actually cause collapse of food chain. So here you have to be very careful. You have to identify the not correct statement. So we know statement 1 and 2 are not correct. The answer is A, 1 and 2 only. 3 is a correct statement. Question number 10. Question number 10. You have to, so certain statements are given. First statement says clockwise inward flow of winds. Second statement says drop in pressure as the system approaches. Third statement says steep temperature gradients. So there is a clockwise inward rotation of winds. Obviously, this might be about some cyclone. Second, the drop in pressure as the system approaches. So both the tropical as well as extratropical cyclone is associated with drop in pressure. So there is low pressure at the center. So again, continuing, third statement, the steep temperature gradients. So temperature gradients are associated with, steep temperature gradient are associated with extratropical cyclone. So we are talking about a cyclone, we are talking about extratropical cyclone particularly. Now we need to identify the option says the option says about you have to identify the answer. Statement 1 says clockwise rotation. So we know in cyclone formation, anti-clockwise rotation is associated with the northern hemisphere and clockwise rotation is associated with the southern hemisphere. So we are talking about extratropical cyclone of southern hemisphere. So the answer is extratropical cyclone in southern hemisphere. Answer is B. Answer is B. So next question, which is from world map. So you have to identify along the coast of which of the following seas you can see the Gaza Strip. So Gaza Strip is one of the territories which form the part of Palestinian territories, Gaza Strip and West Bank. Gaza Strip is actually located along the Mediterranean coastline. So you can see there is Egypt, there is Gaza Strip, there is Israel. There is Egypt, there is Gaza Strip. And West Bank is actually located interior, towards the interior. It is a landlocked area. However, it borders Jordan as well as Dead Sea. It borders Jordan and Dead Sea. So this is West Bank. This is Dead Sea, and this region is Jordan. So here the answer is B. Next question. Consider the following statements about regarding the structure of Earth. The oceanic crust is thinner than the continental crust. Is it correct? Yes, the oceanic crust is much denser, so obviously it is thinner than the continental crust. In NCERT, somewhere it is wrongly given as the density of ocean crust is wrongly given in that particular chapter. So you should be very much thorough regarding the concepts. The oceanic crust is dense and thus thinner than the continental crust. So here the thickness is only around 5 to 10 kilometers for oceanic crust, while for continental crust it is between 30 to 70 kilometers. Right. The density of Earth increases from the crust core. So we know during the initial period of the Earth's formation, a process called differentiation happened, and whereby all the heavy or all the dense material moved towards the interior, and the Earth's layers got arranged on the basis of density. So this is also correct. Answer is C. Question number 13. Question number 13 is about tropical cyclone. The intensity of tropical cyclone gets reduced as it moves into the land. This is because, so for the tropical cyclone to remain active, we know it requires a lot of energy, and this energy is provided by the latent heat of condensation. Because there is moist air rising, moist air will condense, and this condensation will release energy. So as we move into land, there is no, or there is less scope for moisture content. Thereby, the energy is lost and the cyclone dissipates. Answer is the low moisture content of the land. Question number 14. Question number 14, you have to identify a process which has not played a major role in the formation or modification of Earth's atmosphere. So we know initially Earth's atmosphere was made up of hydrogen and helium. It was stripped away by the solar winds. Then the process of degassing happened. The degassing added gases like nitrogen, methane, carbon dioxide, etc. to the atmosphere. And later on, the process of photosynthesis added oxygen. So differentiation is the process which led to formation of layers of the Earth's interior. So this is not directly associated with the formation and modification of Earth atmosphere. You can eliminate. The answer is actually C. You have to identify a process which is not related to the formation and modification of Earth's atmosphere. Question number 15 is about Bab el Mandeb. So it's a strait. So you have to identify the location of this particular strait. So this strait is actually located. This strait is actually located near the Horn of Africa. This is actually between Red Sea and Gulf of Aden. This is the Red Sea. This is Gulf of Aden. This is the Gulf of Aden. This sea region is the Gulf of Aden. And we can say that this is actually this Strait of Bab el Mandeb sits across the Horn of Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. Then you have to identify. So let us look at the other option. Option B says Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman. Is there any strait there? It is one of the most famous strait, the Strait of Hormuz. Strait of Hormuz. Okay, between these two, the Iran and the peninsula, the Arabian Peninsula. Next one, Gulf of Aqaba and Red Sea. So Red Sea and Gulf of Aqaba is connected to a strait called Strait of Iran. Strait of Iran. Strait of Iran. Okay. So next one, Mediterranean Sea and Red Sea. Mediterranean Sea and Red Sea is connected through Suez Canal and the Gulf of Suez. So here it is Suez Canal plus Gulf of Suez. Okay, question number 16, and again another map-based question. Which of the following countries shares a border with Black Sea? So you can eliminate Iran. Iran is on the border of Caspian Sea. Similarly, Kazakhstan, another important country located along the borders of Caspian Sea. So the answer is B, 2, 3, and 4 only. Can you add other countries to this list? So there is Turkey, there is Romania, Bulgaria, Ukraine, Russia, and Georgia, 6 countries, right? So question number 17. Question number 17 is a physical geography. Match the following question. Kimberley Plateau, it is in Western Australia. So you can eliminate this. Ozark Plateau is in America, is in North America. You can eliminate option B. C. Anatolian Plateau is in Turkey. You can eliminate this one. Katanga Plateau is in Africa, option B. So please revise the major physical features of the world. Take the continent map, learn at least 4 or 5 major features of each of the continents. It will take only a few minutes. Okay. So the purpose is that if you know these major features and you're getting something else, you can be confident that this is a tough question, and you can try to answer that based on your logics. And if you can't answer, if you can't reach the answer, you can leave the question with confidence that nobody is going to answer that, or maybe a 5% of the people will only going to answer that. 5% of the people who are going to clear the exam is going to answer that. So that is the purpose of learning everything, so that you will be more confident at the examination hall. So question number 18, practice of contour bunding. We know contour bunding is practiced in the hilly regions to reduce the soil erosion, option C. So learn all the practices, all the major soil protection, soil conservation practices, all the major agriculture practices. This is actually very important because it has a lot of practical application. It is very much concerned with the food security of the world. Question number 19. Question number 19. The main reason that the Earth experiences highest temperatures in the subtropic in the northern hemisphere rather than at the equator is. So during the morning hours, the equator receives a lot of sunlight, and the air in the equator region get excited. It rises, and the moisture condenses, clouds forms, and it rains. During this rain formation, during this rainfall, the atmosphere cools down, and the air loses the water content. And this air, which has lost moisture, will move towards the subtropic and subside in the subtropical region. So subtropical region, there is subsidence, and because of this subsidence, there is lack of cloud formation. So if there is no cloud formation, it will be constantly exposed. it is continuously exposed to the sunlight. So during the daytime, the temperature will keep on increasing. So if you look at the morning hours, it is the equator which receives highest temperature. But if you look at the temperature at the surface, uh, for average temperature at surface for a day, it will be usually the tropics, especially in the northern hemisphere, uh, because of the large landmass present over there, as well as because of the fact that there is cold current, there is subsidence. So subsidence and the lack of cloud is the major reason. Okay, subsidence and the lack of clouds is the major reason. And you can see many of the reasons are closely associated. Answer is A. The subtropical areas tend to have less cloud cover than the equatorial areas, so that the sun's rays will keep on reaching the ground level. And concentration landmass along the subtropics, it is there, but it is not the primary reason. The option C says subtropical areas have an enhanced greenhouse effect. So the option is trying to say that there is more greenhouse gases present in the subtropics, and these more greenhouse gases will absorb more temperature, which is not true. So we can eliminate that. Then subtropical areas are nearer to the oceanic areas than the equatorial locations. In fact, oceans can actually reduce or moderate the temperature. This is actually a negative point. So you can eliminate this particular option as well. So the answer is A. I'm trying to explain other options to have a better understanding and to have a conceptual clarity. Question number 20. Question number 20 is about ITCZ. We have discussed about ITCZ during our TOP geography session discussion. So we know ITCZ helps in the formation of cyclones. So first statement says the cyclones are not formed in ITCZ, which is a wrong statement. Second statement, ITCZ is convergence zone of two easterly winds. So here the easterly winds mentioned is the northeast and the southeast trade winds. So this is true, but you might get confused whether you have to consider these winds as easterly winds. So UPSC will not try to confuse you with wordings, with the naming of a particular wind. So you can see, even if you get confused here, you will get the answer. So statement 3, let us look at the statement 3. Statement 3 says Coriolis force is always 0 in the ITCZ. Is it true? If ITCZ is always located near the equator, then we can say this is true. But we know that ITCZ will move towards north as well as towards the south according to the seasons. And if it moves away from the equator, the ITCZ will, the Coriolis force will come into picture. So this is a wrong statement. So 1 and 3 is wrong. We can eliminate all statements having 1 or 3. So the answer is A, 2. Okay. Question number 21. This is an interesting question. A ship is on voyage from Mumbai to London along the shortest sea route possible. Which of the following ports, water bodies would be encountered in its course? So let us try to travel from Mumbai to Mediterranean, Mumbai to London. Okay. Here is London. Here is Mumbai. Okay. So from Mumbai, you enter Arabian Sea. Then you enter the Gulf of Aden. Then through Strait of Bab el Mandeb, you enter the Red Sea. Then then you enter Suez, the Gulf of Suez. Then Suez Canal. Then you enter the Mediterranean Sea. Then you travel through the Strait of Gibraltar to enter the Atlantic Ocean, and finally reach the port of London. Okay, so let us look at the options. The option given says Gulf of Aden, which will be there, Strait of Gibraltar, which will be there, Suez Canal, which will be there. Amsterdam Port, no, it is located here, slightly north of London Port. Then another Bosphorus Strait. Bosphorus Strait is a strait which connect Mediterranean Sea with the Black Sea. Mediterranean Sea and Black Sea is connected by Bosphorus Strait. So you can eliminate these two. Answer is 1, 2, 3 only. 1, 2, and 3 only. Next question, question number 22. Question number 22 is about places in news and country. So UPSC has this tendency to match the following or the pair questions, whereby the regions will be given and you will be asked to pair it with the respective countries. Hubei province is in China. The capital of Hubei province is Wuhan. Lombardy is in Italy. Its capital is Milan. So both of these places were in news because of the coronavirus issue or the COVID-19 pandemic. Amazonas is in Brazil. We have discussed about the Manaus city, which is the capital of Amazonas state of Brazil. Oromia, which was there in 2018 prelims, it is in Ethiopia. It is a region in Ethiopia. So sorry. So Amazonas and Oromia, these two are correct statements. So the correct pairs. So the answer is B, 3 and 4 only. Now let us look at the question number 23. Question number 23 is about mixed cropping. So in 2013, UPSC has asked about mixed farming. So you should have an idea about the difference between mixed cropping and mixed farming. Mixed cropping is when you cultivate 2 or more crops in the same field. That is, answer is C. Mixed farming is rearing of animals and cultivation of crops together. That is option B. Then what is this one? Option D. It's a kind of double cropping where the second crop is planted into the first crop before the harvest. That is relay cropping. That is, you are not allowing the land to remain vacant even for 1 or 2 weeks. So always there will be some crop being cultivated in a particular piece of land. That is relay cropping. So what is intercropping? Intercropping is another name for mixed cropping. So you should be very clear about all these terms. You should be very clear about what is intensive agriculture, what is extensive agriculture, what do you mean by what is viticulture, what is truck farming, what is pisciculture. So all these terms related to agriculture and the economics should be very much clear. Okay. So UPSC, if at all, is going to ask from human geography, probably they will be going to ask from this region. That is about the economic related region, about agriculture, about industries, about resources, etc. Okay. So next question. Which of the following country does not open out to the Adriatic Sea? So Adriatic Sea as an option, as a term was introduced in 2019 prelims. Obviously, or we are expecting UPSC to ask something related to Adriatic Sea in the next year, because Italy was so much in news because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So here we know answer is B. Tunisia is along the coastline of Mediterranean Sea. So not along Adriatic Sea. Last question, question number 25. Question number 25 is regarding sea floor spreading. So you have to identify which of the following statements given are evidences that leads to the concept of sea floor spreading. Okay, first one says the stripes of normal and reverse magnetic field observed in the rocks of the ocean floor. So immediately after rocks or molten lava reach the surfaces, there will be magnetic materials in the molten lava, and before the solidification, these magnetic materials will get aligned themselves with respect to Earth's magnetic field. So Earth magnetic field, we know it will change or reverse after few thousand years or few hundred years. So this will affect the orientation of the magnetic materials in the rocks. So obviously this will be the option. Statement 2, age of rocks from ocean floor. So we can see that at the locations of divergence, the new lava will be coming out, and the new landmass will be forming here. New crust will be forming here. So obviously, the rocks or the places which are located closer to the divergence, the zones of divergence along the C4 will be having young rocks compared to areas which are away from the locations of divergence. So this one will also help in understanding the concept of C4 sea floor spreading. Then there is distribution of earthquakes and volcanoes. So along the divergence zone, you can find a large concentration of earthquakes as well as volcanoes. So along with the divergent boundary is also responsible for a large portion of earthquakes and volcanoes. So we know that the age of ocean floor is generally low. So usually the oldest, it is considered that the oldest rocks found along the ocean floors is only 200 million years old. However, in the continental areas, you can find rocks of up to 4,000 million years old. So that is, Earth was formed 4,500 million years ago. So you can find rocks immediately formed after the formation of Earth in the continental areas, but not in the oceanic regions. So let's look at the statement 4. Statement 4 says distribution of fossils in the different continents. So distribution of fossils is not associated with the ocean floor spreading, because here these fossils and the rocks might be much older in comparison to the C4. Okay. So 1, 2, 3 are correct. You can eliminate 4. Answer is D. So with that, we have completed the discussion on period prelims geography test 1. Thank you. All the best.